Identity theory claims that anything with brain state P is in pain, okay? But brain state P is a state of the human brain, that squishy gray matter that's inside of our heads that has neurons that fire and chemicals that are being secreted, okay? When particular neurons fire, particular chemicals are excreted, we enter into brain state P, and thus we are in pain. We have different neurons firing with different chemicals being secreted, and we are in brain state G, which means, or it's the exact same thing as seeing green. The key is, though, it has to be our brains. It has to be squishy gray matter brains with these neurons firing and these chemicals being secreted. And anything that doesn't have squishy gray matter brain with these neurons firing and these chemicals being secreted can't be in brain state P and thus cannot be in pain. Well, consider an alien crash lands on our planet. And this alien is significantly physiologically different from us, okay? He's got a football or eye-shaped head, and he's got 4 lower limbs, and he's got 6 upper limbs, and he's got antennae coming out of the head, and he has this circular spot on his head that sound comes out of. Okay, so E.T. crash lands on the planet, okay? We discover this alien that is significantly physiologically different from us, all right? Inside this football-shaped head is this basically slimy-like goo that has fibers that light up in funny ways, okay? This is not gray, squishy gray matter brain. This is gooey, slimy brain, okay? Significantly physiologically different from us. Now, this alien's spaceship crash lands on our planet, and being the kind and gentle and open race that we are, we promptly capture the alien, take him back to a laboratory, and start running tests on him. So we poke and prod, okay? We run tests where we poke and we prod and we squeeze like a blood pressure cuff, so that's a needle. I guess I need a syringe with a plunger. Okay. Yeah, okay. There's a reason I'm not an artist. The point is that we run tests on this thing. Now, the alien behaves as though it is in pain, okay? The alien wiggles and writhes and tries to break free of restraints and moves away from the poking, and when we squeeze the blood pressure cuff, there's this awful sound that comes out of the circular place in his head. Is E.T. in pain? What do you think? Maybe we can't know for certain, but are we going to be inclined to entertain the notion that E.T. might be in pain? If we are, we have to reject identity theory. Identity theory cannot allow for E.T. to be in pain. E.T. doesn't have brain state P. Some of you want to go, but E.T.'s got, his brain, so it's okay. No, not according to identity theory. According to identity theory, you have to have squishy gray matter brain with the very specific neurons firing and the very specific chemicals being secreted to be in brain state P. You cannot be in brain state P if you don't have that stuff. And E.T. cannot be in brain state P. As a result, E.T. cannot be in pain. Nothing can be in pain that doesn't have brain state P. Okay? Even dogs and cats, they have squishy gray matter brains, but they're not quite like ours. Well, if they can't be in brain state P, they can't experience pain. Identity theory says brain state P is certain neurons firing, certain chemicals being secreted. Anything that doesn't have those things cannot be in brain state P and thus cannot have pain or any mental states whatsoever. I mean, the moral of the story here is that identity theory says if it can't have brain states, it can't have mental states. In other words, if it doesn't have a brain like human beings' brains, it can't have mental states. It can't have a mind. It can't be a thinking thing. So if you are one that is inclined to think that other things, dogs, cats, aliens, might have mental states, you will be forced to reject identity theory. Does that make sense? Okay, well, please make sure, as always, that if you didn't understand something, you re-listen, you rewind, re-listen. If you have questions, of course, send me an email. Just, identify yourself in the email, stick your name in it. Let me know who you are, if you want a response. Have a good week.